now going on to the NFL beyond it and our three truths this week. A lot of fun stuff we wanted to address. And ironically, we just mentioned all the LA stuff we just addressed, but I wanted to go back to one more time just to reiterate for this point, because it was the point I had for my truth as well. I believe that with Justin Herbert going down, he should not play another game with Brandon Staley as his head coach. Going down, being out for the season, him having a season-ending injury, he will be out for the remainder of the year because of that fracture he had of his finger. There have been rumors of Staley has been on the hot seat for fans at least, and for the media and all outside of LA Chargers buildings has been on the hot seat all season long, and hasn't done much to convince us that he is the answer long term in LA. So with that being the case, and seeing how this season has now fallen short yet again with Herbert out, I think it's perfect timing to say, all right, while you go ahead and sit down, we'll bring in some new personnel for you, and next year we're not going to run back the same thing. We're going to bring in people new and try to make this fresh for you, so we can really make a push that we think this team is capable of making. Because the talent always seems to be there in the beginning, and it always somehow falls short. So Staley should not be. Justin Herbert should not play another game with Brandon Staley as his head coach. You agree or disagree?
Definitely agree. I was going to say, too, I don't know how fans would feel about this, but if they did go the route of the younger head coach, like you talked about in the previous segment, and didn't go after a Belichick or another veteran, like the idea of maybe elevating Kellen Moore to the head coaching spot and bringing in a stronger defensive coordinator to handle like the defensive side. And
I only do that if I have to. In that there have been rumors of colleges, as there are college football teams, as they are making other coaching changes right now. It's that time of the year. There are a lot of colleges offering big bags for head coaching jobs, and Kellen Moore is on post radar, it seems a little bit. So if there's a team calling, hey, we want to have Kellen Moore as our coach. Are y'all open to letting them come talk with us about, no, we're going to pay him. We're good. We got it. He's ours. He's staying here. So if that's the case, then sure, it's a little bit of a keep away. Keep him as a coordinator and bring somebody else in who may be a better head coach into regards to.
I think that's more ideal.
And the all the things that a head coach has to be beyond what an assistant coach has to do. For example, even as a defensive coordinator, I haven't heard much, and that's apologize for my ignorance, because we should be following a little bit more. But I haven't heard much from Kellen Moore from my fan view. Like I don't see a lot of clips of him talking online. I don't see a lot of interviews of his or anything like that. Of course, there's press conferences after games as coaches do, but I don't see a whole lot about him. Just as I scroll through Chargers media stuff, as I do follow,
there's probably a little bit more buzz like earlier in the season.
Sure. Just saying, if he's cool, if he likes that more reserved role, he handles offense as good as he needs to be, and somebody else will be the face, we can get a nice face up there that can handle the defense in a better way. Like we said, Bill Belichick, if he's available, would be the perfect kind of person for that. And I'd be open to that. And you only bump him up if you have to. So. Yeah, that's my thought on it.
Okay. Yeah, because I think there's a couple head coaches that also like do the offensive play calling as well too. So like I think Kellen Moore could potentially be capable of that, but I think ideally too, like we said, like bringing in a more veteran guy with experience as the head coach and allowing Kellen Moore to excel at like what he does best right now in being the offensive coordinator. So.
Correct. And to the point we talking about having the veteran coach and all the statements and stuff, we joked about recently about how Staley has got a little bit more pushbacky on to the media, and a little bit more frustrating and starting to let loose, and it's getting to that point of the season where he's just like, you know what, guys, I'm doing what I'm doing. Right. And it's like, all right, bro, it's enough's enough. So well, we'll see how things play out. But I think that this pairing you see here of Herbert and Staley has reached its end. So we'll see if that actually is true coming up. So good stuff there. Alec, I'll go to you. You have your one truth, and I'll go back to mine. What is your one truth after week 14?
Yeah, kind of transitioning from your last point, like to that point about frustration kind of mounting over the course of the season. We've definitely seen it boil over a bit for Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, because I don't think him having his frustrations post this game was solely about the offensive offsides call. I think it's built up over the course of the season where games they should have won that have been mental mistakes or drops or whatever the case may be. But I think with the Kansas City Chiefs and the struggles we've seen kind of throughout the season, and with the Eagles, their struggles being highlighted more so recently, but we've seen the flaws earlier in the season. They've just been able to put together wins. I think neither of these teams that were in the Super Bowl, between the Eagles and the Chiefs, are going to make it back this year. where probably coming into the season, they both had high chances of getting back. It was going to be a battle. It's the NFL, but they both were viewed as definite contenders going into the season. I think the Eagles probably have a better shot than the Chiefs, respectively, coming out of the NFC. But I think it's going to be hard for both these teams. I think both these conferences have more solidified favorites in the 49ers coming out of the NFC. I think the Ravens and the Dolphins, honestly, should be ahead of the Chiefs right now in the AFC. And they both have clear issues that need to be fixed. And I don't know if they fully can be.
Actually, go ahead.
Yeah, they both have clear issues that need to be fixed between the receiving core for the Chiefs. The secondary for the Eagles has been rough. And so I don't know if those issues can totally be fixed come playoff time. And I think they're going to struggle against some of these tougher matchups.
For some reason, I want to say no, but in my head, also, I'm like, my picks are not either of these teams. So, I agree with you, but it just doesn't seem right because we see the talent that both these squads have. So, I do agree with you, and I'll fully side with you there. Seeing how other teams have elevated this year and how teams seem to finally turn the corner that we had waited for a couple of years to finally get it right, are finally making the moves to do so. I do agree that it's going to be harder, very hard, and I guess to the point maybe even impossible, I guess, if we don't believe they'll get there for them to get back through all this year, especially as you see their deficiency starting to show this season. So, seeing what's going on with the Chiefs this whole season, I thought that it would be a thing that could be resolved at some point. It has yet to do so. And maybe because they're still a playoff squad, they get in the playoffs and Mahomes locks down like, hey, y'all, like, enough's enough. I'm not going to keep doing this to me, especially not on this stage. We don't want to win these games. And he can muster up some kind of Tom Brady-esque, LeBron-esque leadership elevation of his team.
Backpacking job,
and carry them some kind of way. Maybe that's possible. But I guess realistically right now, I'm not seeing that fully as the case. It's hard to kind of put value into that, how they could possibly elevate there. So until that happens itself, I don't think that it will, and I lean elsewhere for Super Bowl champs this year. So definitely surprised because for at least I will say like 6 weeks this season, somewhere around there, we thought it still was kind of on track for them squads to get back there. But they have not got themselves on track as need be. And this year does not seem to be yet. And maybe next year they'll bounce back and get there again. But I agree that they will not repeat either on either side.
Yeah, I think both I think playoff teams still. And both can win a game or two. But I don't see them getting past their respective championship games. I think there's a couple teams better than them.
I agree with that. Definitely excited to see how that plays out. Going to be a fun time the rest of the year. And looking forward to see who is going to be the ones to replace them, as we don't believe they're going to be the ones in that seat to end this season. So good stuff on that front. The last note on my end, a team that is on Twitch that we do believe could be a Super Bowl team, the Ravens, have made a good run this year. And this point is not about them directly. It's about someone who used to be there. It's about Joe Flacco. And there are a lot of Ravens fans have been somewhat rooting for Joe Flacco because he's gotten back into the league fully. He's playing and doing well. The Browns are a good squad.
Yeah, they are.
No, we're happy for Joe Flacco, but Ravens fans, we gotta stop cheering for this man. He might get out here and ruin some of our plans for the postseason with how well he's turned it around. He's had a couple games now, I think, throwing over 20 yards or whatever, and a couple touchdowns.
I think over 300 this last game.
He's playing real well. So, I think my official statement was Ravens fans no longer be rooting for Flacco in Cleveland. Like, we should just watch him and salute. But once the play starts, I've seen folks, Ravens fan or content creators, one of my favorites, the kid Gowie's pointing out, like, hey, he's an op now. Like, y'all want to celebrate if you want to, but I see that this Brown squad still is a viable squad, squad that still is in playoff contention, right in the middle of this playoff race. So if they get in there and they still have a queue that can be serviceable, which is what all we wanted Deshaun to do, though, of course, this is not the same thing. If he comes in and can still get them of the job, that Brown squad still could be a real thret this year. So, Ravens fans cheering for Joe Flacco. I think after seeing how well he played this last week, that should stop. So from the outside looking in, do you see that as well?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you are a hardcore Ravens fan, like you should see them, as you said, as an op. Like, you should see them as a team that could potentially be a threat, like in the playoffs, because they do when healthy. Like their defense has been really good.
Yeah.
And now they have at least stable quarterback play. Like maybe it's not elite, like old elite Joe Flacco, but he's still putting together some good performances for sure. And it's been fun to see. So I understand, like as a Ravens fan, he was formerly with your team. He won big games for you guys. Like I understand, like wanting him to do well.
Right.
But obviously, when it comes down to it, you're going to want your team ultimately to get the better of the Browns. So I get you. I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, salute to Joe. He still is elite in our eyes, but the elite stuff gotta chill out when you're on opposite end now. So yeah, hopefully we get to shut him down in the playoffs and only get for a glorious moment. So yeah, that was the last thing from me in regards to our choose this week. A quick choose for us this week. Let us know what stood out to you this week. Let us know in the comments what you think about our takes. Let us know what you're looking forward to next week and all kind of stuff. Or with the comments and be sure to react to it all. Yeah, appreciate you for tuning in. So good stuff with our truths this week. I always love doing that.